Today I'm doing a completely spur of the moment video. I'm doing my top 10 celebrity crushes of all time, and I just watched this on Lisa Love's channel. She says it was started by Leo from Geek Legions of Doom, so I'll tag both those channels below. Lisa was saying in her video that she found it difficult to do a top 10, and I thought it would be easy, but I didn't manage to do a top 10 either. I do have some honourable mentions, and in my top 10, some of them are people that I don't even fancy anymore, but I just had to put them in there to fill a space. These days I find it very difficult to find anybody that I fancy at all, so I tried. One of the reasons I decided to do this video is that when she was going down her top 10 list, I thought, oh my god, she has got completely different taste for me. She likes people who are like manly, masculine, long hair, just the complete opposite for anybody I would ever go with, like in a million years. If she ends up watching this video and sees this list, she's going to be sick in her mouth. As I'm going through this list, you'll notice that I don't really like men who are traditionally masculine. I prefer them to have a more feminine look, and I actually prefer them when they're a lot younger. So I hope I don't get myself arrested at the end of this. In my top 10 list, I think I've only got about 5 people that I still actually fancy, but I had to put somebody in it. The first of my honourable mentions is Charlie Hunnam. I loved him when he was in Queer as Folk and Undeclared. I thought he was so pretty and lovely. And then when he was in Sons of Anarchy, he just wasn't for me. He was too muscly, he was too manly, and I'm not into him at all anymore. Zac Efron, once again, in his younger years when he was in High School Musical, when everybody thinks he was a wee geek and he was horrible. Nowadays that he's muscly and he's got a beard and he looks like a proper man, not for me. I'm literally going to get lifted at the end of this. Back in the 80s, I absolutely loved Corey Haim. He was so geeky and cute and I loved him. Once again, once he got older, he had a lot of drug problems and stuff, but I think that if that hadn't have happened, he probably still would have been good looking, but when he was in the 80s, I thought he was really cute. Eddie Cibrian is Cole in Sunset Beach. I've recently started watching Sunset Beach from the beginning and I don't fancy him at all anymore, but when I was growing up and I used to watch it, I thought he was the only good looking person in the whole show. Leonardo DiCaprio in Romeo and Juliet and Titanic. Once again, I thought he was really cute and I don't fancy him anymore, but I think his acting ability is amazing. Now for my top 10, these aren't in any particular order because I found it too difficult to even find 10 people to put in it. Number 10 is Johnny Depp. I don't fancy Johnny Depp anymore, and that's nothing to do with his court case or anything. It's just because he's older now and obviously I prefer the younger specimen. But I remember I stayed at my friend's house when I was in high school and I seen Crybaby for the first time, and I was watching that film and I was like, he took my breath away with his beauty. It was just perfection to me at the time. And then I watched all of 21 Jump Street and I just thought he was absolutely stunning. Even as he got a bit older I found him attractive, but now I think he's just crossed the line now where he's just too old for me. Number 9 is Ryan Reynolds. Even though I still kind of fancy Ryan Reynolds, I don't fancy him as much as when he was in Coming Soon, Buying the Cow and Van Wilder. There was something about him there, probably the fact that he was really young, that I fancied him. Nowadays he's still attractive, but I don't look at him and think, oh my god, I'm going to die. Number 8 is Will Wheaton. The only reason I don't fancy Will Wheaton anymore is because I don't really agree with his opinions and I think he can be a bully at times. But generally speaking, I still think he's quite good looking. When I was young, I used to watch Star Trek Next Generation and I used to record every single time he was on the screen. And even when I look at pictures of him now when he was young, I think he was completely stunning. And I don't really like it when people comment on new pictures of him and say that he's fat and he's ugly and that he's wasted himself or whatever, because even though I don't really agree with a lot of the stuff he says, I still look at him and think he's quite attractive. When I was young, Will Wheaton was like a vision of perfection. Oh god. Number 7 is Michael Shanks, only in Stargate SG-1. I think it's more his character that I was attracted to. I normally like the geeky ones or the ones that nobody else really fancies for some reason. His character in Stargate SG-1 was just amazing to me. He was so smart and he was such a geek. I've seen Michael Shanks in a lot of other films. I've seen him in Christmas films and stuff, and I don't think his acting's that good. I still think he's good looking, but just as the character in SG-1, Dr. Jackson. Yes. Number 6 is Jeff Castellucci from Voice Play. Jeff Castellucci is not my type at all. I don't even like deep voices usually. I normally like people who've got really high range voices. But for some reason, when he sings, it touches my soul. I don't know what it is. And then because his voice, now I look at him and I think, do I fancy him? He's got long hair now as well. And every time I see him coming up on the music videos, or every time I see him tweeting, I'm like that, oh, Jeff Castellucci, he's beautiful. So even though he's not actually my type to look at, and even though his voice isn't my type to listen to, it just does something to me. I don't know what it is. When the older Voice Play videos come up and he's got short hair, I think, oh, he looks really nice with short hair. And then when the new ones come up and he's got long hair, I think, oh, he looks really nice with long hair. And I'm still actually trying to figure out if I fancy him. But I must. Number 5 is Tom Myson. Again, I think it's only his character that I fancy. His character from Sleepy Hollow. When Sleepy Hollow first started, I remember he came on screen and he had his beard and his long hair. Completely not my type whatsoever. And then he started speaking and I was like, oh my god. If there's one thing in this life that I love, it's an old English accent. Whew, it drives me wild with desire. It's strange because if I meet somebody who's like really posh English, I'm normally not into it, but if it's old English and they're saying all the old English words and everything, I'm dead. After watching a few episodes of Sleepy Hollow, I looked Tom Myson up on YouTube, and when he started speaking, that was like his real accent, and I was like, whoa. Totally blew my mind. Normally in real life, I would never go near somebody with long hair and a beard, but if they start speaking and an old English accent comes out, I wouldn't be able to contain myself. One of these days I'm going to go to one of the reenactments and they'll all be speaking like that and I'll just be a puddle. Number 4 is Tom Ellis from Lucifer. It's not just the accent, like he's in Lucifer and he takes all his clothes off, and normally I'm not into six packs and muscles and all that manliness, right? But his body is just so good. Not trying to be shallow here because normally I'm not even into anything like that and bodies don't really bother me. But then when he speaks and he's got that like kind of posh English accent, plus he's the devil. If the devil looked like that, I'm going to hell. That's it, I'm just going. See you later. Number 3, I'm definitely going to get lifted for this one, is Dylan Sprouse. When I was in my 20s, I used to watch The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and I always thought he was the cute one. Now I didn't want to go with him, it was about 8, but I thought that he was the cute one out of the two. And in recent years he's been in films and I just think he's amazing. Not just how he looks, but his acting is out of this world. It blows my mind in everything that he's in. Recently I watched him in a film which I think was called When We Collide, and the film was crap. He was the only good thing in the film. It reminds me of a young Leonardo DiCaprio, and his acting is as good, if not better than Leonardo DiCaprio. Again, I'm not really into muscles or like men's bodies. It doesn't matter to me if they're skinny or fat or muscly or whatever. But he took his top off in that film and he was just like slender looking. He wasn't too muscly, he just looked like a normal person. And I was like, yes, I'm way older than him, oh my god. I've got problems. Number 2 is Adam Lambert. I don't care what anybody says, Adam Lambert is stunning. Even though he's a bit older now, he's still stunning. I went to see him when he first came to Scotland and I was at the very, very front and he had like loads and loads of makeup on and you could see that he's got quite bad skin. But do you know what? I actually quite like that look on some people. Adam Lambert to me is just breathtaking. I love a man in makeup as well. I like it when guys wear eyeliner and eyeshadow and all that. But even when he doesn't have all his makeup on, he's just beautiful. Adam Lambert's voice has got one of the ranges where they hit the high notes and I can't breathe. Like I literally can't breathe. So that's why I'm so confused about Jeff Castellucci, because he's got a really deep voice and it's normally something that I'm not into. But everything about Adam Lambert is just beautiful. Number 1 is no surprise to anybody who knows me in real life. I was obsessed with this person for years, and I don't particularly fancy them to look at now, only because they're a bit older, but I still look at them and appreciate that they're good looking. And that person is Brian from the Backstreet Boys. When I was growing up, I was obsessed with Brian for the Backstreet Boys, and oh my god, like in recent years he's had voice troubles, so he doesn't hit the same notes that he used to. And one of the first things that attracted me to him was his voice. Don't get me wrong, I still like listening to him sing and I still think he's amazing and I still love him, but he just doesn't hit the same notes. And when I look at him, he's just a bit older and I don't fancy him that much. But he has to be my number one because he absolutely used to blow my mind. Anytime I seen him, I thought I was going to drop dead. Even now when I watch videos of the Backstreet Boys and I see Brian going across the stage and like touching people's hands, I say to my pals, how are the people still standing? If I went to see the Backstreet Boys and Brian touched my hand, I'd take a heart attack, I'd be dead, I'd be on the floor and that would be it. Even the thought of it, like I can't even think about it. One of my friends wanted me to go and meet the Backstreet Boys and I was like, only ever take me to meet the Backstreet Boys if you literally want me to die. So that's it. That's my top 10 celebrity crushes of all time. You can let me know your top 10 in the description box, or if you decide to make a video, you can leave a link in the comment section below. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're new here, consider subscribing. Happy Valentine's Day. Bye!